Hey, remember that press conference a couple of weeks ago where the mayor from Washington, D.C. was complaining that the Donald Trump administration, the president himself, were usurping their constitutional authority? How dare they take over the police of her city? After all, she had the stats and the graphs and the paper statistics to prove that violent crime was down, despite the fact they weren't including the murder rate in the violent crime numbers. Washington, D.C. was completely safe. She's saying something different now.
For carjackings, the difference between this period, this 20-day period of this federal surge and last year represents a 87% reduction in carjackings in Washington, D.C. We know that when carjackings go down, when the use of gun goes down, when homicide or robbery go down, neighborhoods feel safer and are safer. So this surge has been important to us for that reason.
Oh, the Trump surge is working, and now she wants everything to stay. In other words, this was only supposed to be for 30 days. The president's talking about pulling the guard out now, and she's saying, wait. 2 weeks with no murders. 88% drop in carjacking. That would be violent crime. No, the citizens feel safe. They're walking the streets at night. They're enjoying this. Social media is over the top with people who live in D.C. about how safe it is here now. Don't go. Oh my, oh my, oh my. Hi, I'm Pastor Marty. Welcome to the Afternoon Drive. Please make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, and once you are, smack the bell, click the word all. That will give you notification of my rants, my ravings, my undeniably flawless reasonings. Please like and share this video. It's the only way that we get the word out. In the last week or so, I have really emphasized you helping us out by posting our links to your social media platforms. And thanks to you, we have slowly seen our subscription numbers beginning to come up. We are throttled back. We are absolutely shadow banned by YouTube. I can't get this channel monetized, and I'm not trying to create a Patreon page where you go. I'm not asking you to buy me a cup of coffee, buy a t-shirt that I designed, or drink some really rancid coffee that I designed. No, nay. And I'm not selling you fake energy drinks or quasi-weird multivitamins. Not doing any of that. In fact, I am gainfully employed. I do this as a place to kind of vent, and I welcome you to come and listen to that venting. And if you're getting value and content from it, all I ask you to do in way of a membership here, just tell people about us. Post the links to your social media platform. Help us grow our page. Thank you. As the Democrats meet this week to strategize what they're going to do in the coming midterm elections, they waste half a day basically apologizing that they're using stolen land from Native Americans, and we want to acknowledge that. I got a great way for the Republicans to push back on that narrative. I think J.D. Vance, when he makes his presidential run, here's what I think he ought to do. Because we know that Gavin Newsom is up to, trying to gerrymander California so that no Republican ever wins there ever again. And you know what? Good. Goodbye. Good riddance. See ya. Let's do this. Some Republican with some MAGA Trump-like guts make this a campaign issue. Hey, you know what? We really have seen the error of our ways, and we really do think that, there is a case to be made that this is stolen land. So, to make it up to Native Americans. If I win the presidency, I will convene a special session of Congress. We will officially relinquish all rights and ownership of the state of California. We will withdraw it from statehood, and we will give it to the Native American peoples of this land, and you can divide it up among your tribal nations however you see fit. California is yours. Oh, yeah.
You're either incredibly smart or incredibly stupid.
Donald Trump has this unique ability this time around to take these 80-20 issues and make them Republican issues. The Democrats didn't want to admit that things like the border were a problem. Illegal immigration was a problem. Homelessness, real problem. Crime in the cities, a problem. In fact, that's a 90-10. And what Donald Trump has successfully done, these first 8 months in office, he's gotten Democrats to defend illegal aliens and defend criminals. To defend this whole cashless bail that basically just lets criminals back out on the street 30, 40, 50 times before they ever see the inside of a jail cell. We're watching mass groups of people just walk into retail stores like Nike and grab shirts, grab shoes, and just walk out. Nobody stops them. They're now pulling out of these cities, and they all happen to be blue cities. So what does Donald Trump do? He steps into Washington, D.C., and he says no more, because D.C. is technically federalized property. He had that authority, and shazam, Batman, in the 2 weeks that he's had D.C., the crime rate is virtually non-existent. The citizens who live there, many of whom are, shall we say, non-Caucasian, have been very thankful at what Donald Trump has done, and they all say it's working. More than just Democrats standing up there with their charts telling people, I don't care if you were just assaulted last night. I'm telling you the crime in this city is down, and it's down because of our policies of basically not arresting anyone, and when we do, letting them back out on the streets. Be happy for that. And now that what Donald Trump has done has really proven to work, just like the tariffs, you've even got the Fed chairman saying now he was wrong about the Trump tariffs. They actually are working. Shazam, Batman. So we had Governor J.B., baby back ribs Pritzker, and the mayor of, the governor of Maryland, all saying that you're not coming to Chicago, you're not coming to Baltimore. You got Gavin Newsom out there doing everything he can on Twitter to try to be Donald Trump, just absolutely copying his cadence with the way he posts, and making up all these mock memes, that the tide has shifted, that Hulk Hogan and Rocky are all for Gavin Newsom now. It's just a bunch of bull hot. Gavin Newsom has been one of those people talking about, the police state and the authoritarian overreach of Donald Trump. Guess what Gavin Newsom is now doing with the police in California?
Tonight, Governor Newsom is making plans to expand the state's law enforcement presence all across California.
Republicans responding, saying Newsom is 7 years too late, saying he's, quote, scrambling to deploy more officers in major cities after years of letting crime spiral out of control.
The community wants to see more, and we are trying to be responsive to the people we serve. As it relates to the president in particular.
Oh, so now he realizes that, hey, more police means less crime. So now he is taking the chips, if you will, the California Highway Patrol officers, pulling them off the highways and the freeways, bringing them into cities and municipalities to work alongside the understaffed police that are there. And shazam, Batman, the crime is going down. So in other words, he's doing what Donald Trump did. All Donald Trump did was bring in the National Guard to work with the police. So now you have the National Guard in like Washington, D.C. They're patrolling all the big city parks, all the historical landmarks that people want to come and see. And they're very visible out on the streets of D.C., and that frees the police up to actually go and deal with crime. So that now, when criminals go into an area and they know that it's going to be at least a 30 to 40 minute response time, they can literally just, we're wreaking havoc between carjackings, assaults, rape, and other violent crime, murder. The response time is now under 1 minute. It's under 1 minute. Why? Because the guardsmen are everywhere. And the homeless, gone. The filth and graffiti, going. And will soon be gone. And the residents of Washington, D.C. are praising Trump, and now the mayor is saying, yeah, it worked. So now Gavin Newsom, hoping to fend off Donald Trump, embarrassing him even more by sending more National Guard and having to take over all of his cities, not just Los Angeles, which, by the way, the crime is dropping there, and nobody's talking about it. You know why? Because there's still National Guardsmen there. Remember, this was the group that just a few summers ago, defund the police, defund the police. And they wanted to pull all that money and resources away from police and give it to social workers, which is still what the dingwad mayor of Chicago wants to do. He's even was asked repeatedly by Joe Scarborough recently, hey, if you had more money to put, 5,000 more police officers on the ground in Chicago, would you do it? He would not say yes. He wants that money for social programs. He wants that money for food stamps, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Not even realizing that the breakdown of the home and the welfare system is what has contributed to this loss of any hope, and so we turn to crime in the inner cities. That's where it comes from. And then he wants to quote, stats like, the best deterrent to crime is a job. You think these kids that see these gangbangers with the bling and the money and the cars want to work at 7-Eleven after seeing all that? Give me a break. So what Donald Trump has done has worked, and now all Gavin Newsom is doing is the same thing except using National Guardsmen. He's just pulling the highway patrol away from the highway and bringing them into the cities. All Gavin Newsom is a cheap rip-off imitation of Donald Trump. And again, the Democrats, sensing that they were on the wrong side of history when it came to crime, starting to pivot now. But they still have this problem with the school shooting in Minnesota. Because at first, they wanted to make it all about gun control. They wanted to make it all about we got guns in the hands of these crazy MAGA people. And then the shooter turns out to be trans. And all of a sudden, the narrative flips. And we can't be mean to the trans community. And we need to give the trans community the help and the support they need, that they feel so threatened that they're taking matters now into their own hands. Are you kidding me? The Democrats even mock. I don't know why people are so shocked that Democrats like Jen Psaki and even the mayor of Minneapolis have mocked prayer. The mayor said these kids were literally praying when the shots rang out. The prayer didn't work. In other words, only gun control will work. By the way, Minneapolis, Minnesota has some of the strictest gun control in the country. Now, this was a trans individual, which, by the way, we've had several of these shootings that immediately they're in the news and in the media. And then as soon as they find out the shooter is not a right-winger, but a left-winger and a member of the alphabet community, all of a sudden the story just goes away. Interesting, isn't it? Well, Megyn Kelly isn't having any more of it. And she set the record straight.
Obviously, I've heard about the rhetoric and the narrative that is being pushed out, but here's the thing. Anybody that is going to use this as an opportunity to villainize our trans community or any community has lost touch with a common humanity. We got to be operating not out of hate for any group, but out of a love for our children. That's where the focus needs to be right now. A love for our kids, seeing these kids not just as somebody else's kids, this horrific thing happened, but what if it was our own? How would we feel then? So, look, we need to be standing up for every community out there, a Catholic community too, by the way.
He doesn't know anything. He doesn't know anything. Hate, we can't be operating out of hate for the trans community. It's not about hating the trans community. It's about being honest about what was wrong with this obviously extremely ill, mentally ill man who picked up his guns, 3 of them to be exact, and shot a bunch of kids. It's not about hate. How dare you try to turn this into a pro-LGBTQ moment? We have to get really honest about what was wrong with this shooter. And P.S., it's the same thing that's been wrong with shooters in a multitude of mass shootings now, which your side, Mayor, refuses to acknowledge. What is this guy, like 29, 32 at most? Where were you during Sandy Hook? Because I don't remember you out there, Mr. Mayor. Some of us were with parents, were at these scenes moments after the gunfire went off. You've got, yes, one terrible tragedy in your community. It's about a lot more than your alleged hate for certain communities. It's not about that at all. It's about calling a spade a spade. It's infuriating watching that guy. I mean, also, like, oh, and the Catholic community, by the way. Oh, like, that's an afterthought. Like, yeah, Catholics. Yeah, we're realized. We know that. Catholics were targeted. Thanks for the nod of the head. We really appreciate you deigning to acknowledge that Catholics have been targeted here.
Boom, shakalaka, boom.